Hello everybody. Out in the garden this morning doing a few things, and thought I would show you a few things that's going on. Got quite a bit of seeds coming up that I planted for the fall garden. That's always exciting to me. Anytime new life starts to put forth its first signs of life, it's really exciting. But anyways, let me show you a few things and kind of show you what's going on. First row here is some arugula. It's a real good additive to put in a salad. Really kind of spices it up just a little bit. And I'll go through and thin these out with a lot of the plants in this part of the garden. This is kind of our salad garden for the fall. Next row is some Paris Island lettuce. It's kind of like a similar to a romaine type head lettuce, and I had real good germination on it. Next row is a black seeded Simpson lettuce. It's more of a leaf type lettuce. These two row are carrots in the middle there, and they're just starting to come up, and I'll show you some up close. The two varieties I planted this year is the Danvers 126 and I can't pronounce it. It's a well, we'll move on. And you can just start to see some carrots coming up right there. And what these will do, my experience in the past planting them in the fall, is they'll usually winter over good. I'll mulch them pretty heavy this winter, and we'll start harvesting them probably midwinter into early spring. These are the Danvers 126, just starting to come up this morning. Here's some collards that I planted. These seeds were actually sent to me by Cubman off the Bayou Gardener Forum, and I planted these probably too thick in here. First round I did back 1st September, I lost because of some heat we had, but I planted them pretty thick to get a good germination, and we'll go through here definitely and thin these out. Here's some more collards that I've got next to those. Didn't have as good a germination on these. And then next, here on the edge of this little garden here is a row of radishes. What I do on radishes is I plant a row to start with, and as I harvest them, I'll just go back and harvest them maybe in a group of 3 or 4 radishes, and then I'll go in and I'll start planting more radishes. And that way you always have a steady supply of radishes coming up, and you're kind of using the same ground, and they take up a very little room, and real good to throw in salads and just eat on the side of anything. But they golly, from germination to ready to eat's 25-30 days. You can't get much better than that for something you can kind of sustain yourself with. In this one row I've got different stage of radishes. Here's some that I planted here recently, and then here's some in the same row that are just a couple of days later than the ones I just showed you. And then of course you've got some there that are just darn near ready to pick. And then there's a little spot right up there that's got some more coming up in them. Not too bad a looking radish right there. I think what I'm going to do right here, I've got this row I showed you earlier of collards that didn't have very well germination on. I think I'm going to leave the front half about 4 feet up there, 5 feet. Let them stay, and I'm going to kind of loosen the soil up back here and plant some Swiss chard in that spot. This soil right in through here is real loose, down pretty good. I worked on this spot pretty good towards the end of summer, and got it pretty good. So that's about all we're going to do to that. And then I'm going to draw a trench and plant some Swiss chard. Swiss Chard seed's pretty good size seed. It's kind of like a little cluster, and needs to be planted about 1/2 inch deep, about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches apart, and then we'll thin them to about 1 foot apart once they get up and growing. I'm going to cover those seeds with some sifted compost out of my compost pile to about 1/2 inch deep. Well, you gotta hate when that happens. One of my branches off this bell pepper here broke, I guess, wind yesterday, and had 3 or 4 peppers on that branch. But we'll still be able to use those peppers, just use them a little smaller than they should be. Got a row of spinach here. The variety's Noble. Just starting to come up for me. Spinach is something that historically I've struggled with growing in the past. Been looking at my sweet potatoes pretty close the last couple of days. You can see how they're starting to push up out of the ground. They won't be long now before we get in here and harvest these. I mentioned before in one of my other videos that I'm trying to get this strawberry bed going here on the east side of my greenhouse, and it's doing okay. I just started with I think I started with about 8 plants, lost a couple of them, but let me show you what they're starting to do. And most of you guys know this, but I'll say it anyways for those that may not. But what a strawberry will do is it'll send off these runners. See there? See, that's made a couple little plants off of that one plant right there. And that's what you're kind of hoping, is these things will spread and eventually fill this bed up. And in years to come, we'll have a pretty good strawberry harvest off of it. What I've got here is a mixture of the litter that's underneath the rabbit hutch, and then I had about 1/2 bucket of compost left from the other project. Kind of mix that up a little bit. Rabbit manure is pretty mild. It can go directly in the garden fresh, for that matter. I don't, like any fertilizer, I don't let it really touch the plant, but I do stick it in around it and let it go to feeding. And then what I'll do in this bed now is just come in here and cover it with some more compost. Well guys, I appreciate you watching the videos. And I appreciate watching y'all's videos. I love seeing what other people have to share with me, and I love sharing what I do with others. And if you hadn't seen Bobby's MHP Gardener's video on that topic of sharing and prepping and all, and real good words of wisdom from Bobby, and I'll put a link at the bottom to that video if you haven't seen it. Really appreciate the guys that got me into this I guess about 1.5 years ago, and could start naming names, guys, but I'd be here another hour. I'll save that for another video. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Modoc42. Most of you already know, but if you don't know, he's back on YouTube, and I'll put a link also at the bottom of the description and all of his new channel. Welcome back, Modoc, and I really look forward to seeing what you have to share with us again, and really appreciate you, guy. anyways, I appreciate you watching the videos, and y'all have a great day. We'll see y'all later.